Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be covering Chapter 1, The Angel's Metropolis. So this is when the game really picks up as far as following the alignment of a typical formulaic approach to chapters goes. The prologue was 2 verses long, and we'll get into what that means later. Every other chapter pretty much has a fairly stable length to it, and we're going to be able to see pretty much what you're going to expect from every chapter in the game, starting here. So with that said, let's get right into this. Now, last time there was a huge information dump, and I wouldn't be surprised if anyone who has never seen anything from this game before got completely lost, but a little bit more exposition to go, so let's have Enzo take it away.
So, I asked around, and some whale in Europe is trying to fence a huge rock on the black market. He calls it the right eye, saying it's part of some set called the Eyes of the World. Fits the bill of what you're after, don't it? Now, here's the funny bit. The stone passes around the halls of power for hundreds of years, vanishes, and then the black market goes white hot for the thing. But the seller wanted an arm and a leg for it, to the point no one could stomach the price. So back goes the stone. But not before everyone figures out where the guy is. You're gonna enjoy doing this one, I bet. I love sticking it to the rich. Of course, when you do, don't forget your old buddy Enzo stuck his neck out on this one. Slide me a few fuzzoles out of the rich guy's pocket for my troubles, right? Anyways, you better get going before the trail gets cold. Off to the middle of nowhere. Paradise of Europe. Vigrid.
So, this is supposed to be paradise?
So starting out the adventure part of this game, we're going to see that it's not all just being stuck in a room fighting a bunch of angels. We're going to see that we can even interact with the townspeople, although minimally. We are in the dimension of Purgatorio, whereas they're stuck all in the human world of chaos. So we can't actually interact with them, but we can certainly screw with them and freak them out a bit. Oh, what's that? What's that? The wind? Oh, you better run. Yep, You do that. Okay. I don't know, I find that very fun whenever you just come across a group of people, just see if you can screw with them in some way. It's quite fun. Anyway, we can also destroy benches and trash cans, and basically Bayonetta is a vandal at heart, apparently, because, I mean, I guess she just doesn't give a damn about anybody here, because, you know, human world, she's in purgatory, she's not here for business or whatever, or rather, she is here for business. So we can destroy benches, because that's part of business, of course. Destroying any sort of environmental terrain can give you a lot of extra goodies. Apparently, being stuck in Purgatorio means that we can still interact with benches, and we can also interact with metal detectors, oddly. Apparently, Radon's guns set those off. But now we can see that we got shiny new guns, and we're going to see what those mean in a little bit. But apparently security has locked off everything, turned doors into a 2D graphic. So next thing to do, gamer's intuition, investigate the big glowing wall. Alright then, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to focus our energy on this thing. Bust it open, walk through, and it's a really clever Metroid Prime-esque door. No way to get it in from the other side, so we're basically living on the logic that we're all about progression, pretty much. But anyway, there's a locked door here, so we're gonna have to find some kind of key. So down here you're gonna see this is a resting area of an Umbran witch, basically a funeral stone. So like any good Umbran sister, we are going to completely destroy the stone and grave rob. Great messages for the kids. Anyway, so now that we're carrying this giant key, if you come up here, enemies will appear! More affinity! Luckily, Bayonetta has no problem using a giant-ass key as a sword. I love this game, did I mention that? You're going to see a lot of different weapons being employed as time goes on. Not quite here yet, but there will be a point when we'll see just what we can do with a bunch of different weapons. And of which we actually steal from the angels. So this is a book of some sorts that apparently Antonio Redgrave, the journalist, wrote. I'm sure you could probably find all the journals online. I'm thinking about maybe throwing that into an extra video. But before we can do that, progression is going to be blocked by these affinities, so we can get a little bit more into combat as it has evolved since the last time we saw it. The guns Radon gave us, the Scarborough Fair, offers us the ability to create fists and boots out of our hair. A little more on that in a bit. But as is typical in a game like this, defeating all the angels is going to knock down the door. And apparently reform the statue that depicts an Umbran, I guess, and that's a sage. I guess I'm reading into that, right? The ability to walk on water. Okay. Speaking of water, we could go underwater indefinitely. Bayonetta doesn't need to hold her breath. No drowning music here. I guess it's all that Umbran training, I guess, that got her to be able to hold her breath for literal ever. We pick up these statues and then drop them. They'll be so miffed that they're gonna shoot us with lightning, I guess. And so now, having entered Witch Time artificially, we can just walk across water. Very cool concept. I'm glad they made use of something like that. So here's another one of our puzzle blocks. Unlike the last one, though, it's not just a door. We break this thing, it's gonna turn into an elevator. Because, you know, when you viciously kick ancient technology, it does what it's told. So that was that. Now just to explore this area a bit more. Destroy more benches and whatnot. Oh, hello, running figure. He doesn't seem to be running away from me, and he's being chased by somebody. Huh. Clearly never gonna come up again.
I knew it. This town's teeming with heaven's little helpers. It's making my buddies downstairs awfully nervous.
And your point is?
Some places in this world are closer to Paradiso or Inferno. The rat hole of a town you and I live in is close to both. But the Vigridians, they got a special air about them. They're closer to Paradiso than anyone should ever be. And that shit just plain creeps me out. I guess I'm gonna have to set up shop here and score me some halos. These stupid rings are worth a fortune back home. since it seems you're spoiling for a fight. If you come across any of these, bring them to me, and I'll hook you up.
Another one looking to line his pockets. I'm beginning to see why Enzo is so fond of you.
Real cute. But let's get one thing straight. Your fights are yours alone. I'm only here to watch my handiwork in action. So don't get any bright ideas about coming to me for help.
No, you get one thing straight. I'm not the slightest bit interested in the fact that you made these guns. If you get in my way, I will... How do the Americans put it? Oh yes, bust a cap in yo ass.
Right on, baby. Right on.
Wouldn't be a Kamiya game without some random merchant that shows up to sell us stuff. So let's go visit Radon. And just, we're going to take a look at what he has to offer. Not really too much we're interested in just yet, but it is always nice to take a look, know what we're dealing with, all that.
You here for business or pleasure? Either way, I'll hook you up.
Alright, so getting off to the right start here, we got no weapons available, a bunch of accessories that are really expensive, items, health items, attack power items, defensive items, magic increasing items, basically a 1-up, and health up, and magic up, permanent upgrades. Then we got a list of techniques, those don't seem too bad. And then a list of treasures that are not available yet. So the only thing we're going to buy right now is a technique known as the air dodge, which is exactly what it sounds like. Remember what I said last part about how Bayonetta isn't a game to give you a weakness? Dodge canceling is always a thing. You are never left entirely vulnerable in this game. Well, this is just sort of to compound that. Not only can we dodge out of any attack, but now we can assuredly dodge out of any attack in the air. As well as obviously just dodging attacks in the air, which is 100% useful in this game. We're going to see just how useful it can be coming up relatively shortly, I'd say. But if you're going to get one thing at this point in the game, and I dare say you should be able to afford it at this point, get that air dodge. And maybe a couple health upgrades, because that would probably be wise. Anyway, coming out here into the light, we can just see what great environments Bayonetta offers in general. The sheer atmosphere of this game, and just... I really like the way that this area looks. Nice architecture, lovely grass in this little courtyard area, and if you look up, it's beautiful. It's like the sky opened up and a chorus of angels came out of the heavens to sing its praises. Oh, right. The angel applaud commands the affinity in the armies of heaven. So I think y'all know what's coming up now. It's about time Bayo does what Bayo does best. And I believe this is the first time we've really felt the sense of freedom in a battle. We can go anywhere in this courtyard. Everything is open to us, and we can just really see for the first time what it's like to deal with a horde of enemies that's just gonna keep coming. You think these 4 are all we're gonna face? No, this is just the warm-up. But as you can see, if you finish off an enemy with a torture attack, not only does that kill them instantly, or at least take off a huge chunk of the health bar that you see down there that only applies to bigger enemies, you also get a laurel that refills part of your health, And you get the enemy to drop their weapon, if they've got a weapon that they can drop, of course. So, what you always want to do is you want to be able to pick up those weapons and then use them to take down even more angels. Really intricate system as far as I'm concerned, because almost every one of the angelic arms has many good uses in battle. And it's always something that's not mandatory, but at the same time can be really helpful. Because despite being a bit stiffer and a bit harder to manage, the items that the angels use to use combat in general, horns, trumpets, this morning star that this particular guy is throwing at us, and of course those staves, which we were just pole dancing on before, they all have their own really unique uses in this area, and in every area in this game actually. You just have to know what weapons you can use for what and when. It's very situational, and knowing what enemies are going to come up ahead of you is a really, really good chance to start strategizing. For example, I could just as easily take down this enemy with a torture attack as I did the affinity from earlier carrying the horn. And the fact that I did the one with the horn means that I'll have a horn available instead of this staff. On top of that, you can also save any weapons that you might have stored up just by pressing in the control stick so that you don't have to waste their energy. And you can save that for when a pretty big boss enemy appears. Such as the behemoth Beloved. Alright, so this guy's wielding this axe. Watch out, because Beloved will give you a run for your money. Not to say he's anything we can't handle, mind you, but such a burly enemy, and don't take that size as a sign that it's going to be moving slowly here. This, in fact, is probably one of the most threatening enemies in the game from a attack standpoint, because even just stepping around, this guy throws like actual kick to his step. So you're going to want to dodge all that if you can. However, his upper body attacks are relatively slow and easy to enter witch times. We can knock him off balance, and if we really kick him around after that, we can enter a climax, which is basically like a glorified torture attack. This guy's too big for a normal weapon, so we're going to have to call upon the demonic dragon Gamora to have a bit of a feast. Oh, that's gotta hurt. So for completing that battle, we get twofold. For one, we get that record thing, and the other is that we actually get the handy axe that the Beloved has left behind. We'll shrink it down to more fun size, though. Anyway, about this record. This is an Angelic Hymns Gold LP. Basically, think of it as a record with an angelic holy song on it. And that's about it. But who cares about that? We got an axe. More on the records later. Anyway, the other thing you might notice is that every weapon has a health bar of sorts down there. And every time you make consistent contact with a weapon, you'll see that the health bar or usage bar of the weapon goes down drastically. So you're always going to want to keep that in mind, is that each weapon only lasts so long. The axe is in fact only good for 2 solid attacks. It's something to keep in mind at least, but again, nothing to really worry yourself over too much because, you know, there are plenty of weapons around. You just want to make sure that when you use a weapon, you make it count.
What are you doing? Let's go.
Whoa! Alright, where'd you come from? This guy you might recognize from the opening prologue area, so I think we already know that this guy is not an exclusive case with Bayonetta. Apparently there's definitely some kind of front going on here with this guy. So you just want to stand here and gun him down as best you can. I would recommend rotating the control stick and pressing the punch button, but really you could use the gun button as well. No real penalty for that, and oh god! Well, just keep using those guns there, and, oh, Christ. I mean, if you want to talk about a brutal way to go. Alright. It's just us now against this thing. So you're gonna want to keep your dodging up. Keep your guns blazing. Every time you dodge a fireball, you can enter Witch Time, and if you're really good, you can knock those fireballs back. But that's a matter of like extreme timing right there. All projectiles in this game can in fact actually be knocked back while in Witch Time. Something to keep in mind for some later enemies. However, for this guy, one thing I would recommend is to stay out of the middle during this attack. He's about to breathe fire, but if we can land enough solid hits on the head, dislodged and free at last. And just from that, we can see what utter brutality is involved in these witch hunts that were going on way back. When was that? 500 years ago, I think it said. Anyway, gruesome flashbacks aside, why don't we pay Rodon a visit after picking up the next journal from Redgrave. Let's just enter this portal here and get a little bit more insight into what the Angelic Hymns Gold LP record can be used for in this game.
Well, well, an Angelic Hymns Gold LP. Got your hands on something awfully rare, haven't you? That thing is the perfect bait to coax out some of hell's uglies. One note hits their ears, and a damn who's who of Inferno comes pouring out of the inner circles. Then I can use them to breathe life into what I make best. Weapons of mass destruction. Tell you what, you give me that record, and I'll order up something so fiendish, angels will cry at the sight of it. I'll just have to pop down to the tropics for a bit, so take a load off.
It is worth noting that all of Rodon's records are actual classical songs that you can look up on YouTube at any point, and they actually sound, the full versions anyway, quite good.
All done. He's a little rude, but he makes up for it with charm. Be nice to him, okay?
Fans of Devil May Cry may also recognize these Onyx Rose shotguns as being somewhat inspired by the shotgun from Devil May Cry 1. Just an interesting thing there, but as you can see now we have multiple weapons. Not only do we have the Scarborough Fair set, but we now also have Onyx Roses. I'm not going to be equipping those just yet because I want to save them for a point when I'm going to have more to talk about with the alternate weapons. And right now we've kind of got a boss fight anyway, so apparently one Beloved wasn't enough to throw at us. We're going to get a second one almost right away here. So you want to just keep your guns trained on this guy for the start of this battle. When he gets his hand there though, we've got a perfect shot at that hand of his. So let's just keep wailing on him as he tries, almost constantly now, to destroy the bridge we're standing on. The bridge takes a while to collapse, so you don't worry too much about the amount of passive time there. The big thing you want to keep in mind, though, is that every time he slams the bridge into the wall, it's going to leave you off balance, and you don't want to be able to put up with that. So dodge or jump right before you make contact with the wall, and you won't have to worry about that. Oh, okay. So quickly jump off of there before it slams into the wall. And let's just move on. Or not. Alright, so don't even worry about fighting him on the stairs. Get off the stairs, quickly. Because when this guy gets up here, he's going to leave himself perfectly open. The only trouble is, all this shaking he's doing is probably going to end up knocking down this platform we're on if we give him enough time to handle that. So be sure to take him down quickly, abuse Witch Time, because that's what the game wants you to do. Watch out for all his flailing, but they're all very exaggerated attacks. There should be no problem in bringing him down to 0 health, initiating climax. Let's call on Gamora once again. Gruesome but satisfying end. And that completes chapter 1. As you can see, we missed 2 verses that just, I guess you could call them optional battles. We'll be covering that in the extra video for chapter 1, linkable in the complete playthrough playlist, rather than the normal run or story run playlist.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's what you've been waiting for. Angel attack! Ready, fire!
You know, I didn't really get to talk about this too much in the last episode, but this little mini-game, Angel Attack, follows every chapter. You get a set number of arcade bullets in order to shoot at all these angels. Each angel is worth a certain price, and when you finish off, you get points. You can exchange those points for halos or other items. Fairly straightforward, fairly simple. I'll get more into the mechanics as we move on. However, we've just started our little journey into the city of Vigrid. Next part, we're going to be heading into Chapter 2, Vigrid, the City of Deja Vu, where, needless to say, we might start recalling some of the lost memories from our past. I'll see you then.